Bear with me, I'm just trying to set this up for the first time and I'm not sure how to link up my chat on my computer because I can see it on the screen here, but I can't. Hi, Carolyn, Oliver. Can you guys hear me okay? Let's go. All right, yeah, here we go. All right, works good. Hey guys, good morning. So, yeah, I'm just in Squamish this morning and it's a rainy morning. I came up to get some work done on my van, which I'm not sure if I'm gonna do. I'm going to be meeting up with a friend of mine and he's going to give me a little bit of his take on it because he's done some body work and stuff like that on a van and or different vehicles. So, hey guys, cool. So here we are, first live stream. This is kind of weird because I'm used to chatting with my camera and I just have that going and then I don't get to do this and it's kind of I feel like I'm sitting in my van in a way by myself, but here you are. Anyway, I'm hoping that, so I'll give you guys a little bit of heads up what's going on with me lately, because I've been sort of out of touch with you on the channel just with videos, and so basically where things are at is I've been busy trying to adjust all my taxes and I've got to shift everything from one accountant over to another company. It's a bit of a process doing that because it's corporate taxes, which is completely different from personal taxes. And that's been kind of on my mind. And then I've also got quite a bit of van work to do. So I'm doing the today I'm going to be taking a look at the rocker panels underneath and seeing if I'm going to be welding in any extra metal down there to support it. What's happened is part of the, like where the rocker panel material, sheet metal comes down and it gets welded together, there's this vertical piece that's linear all the way along the bottom of the van. And somebody's been putting that on a lift in a shop and it's crumpled that all up. And it's folded some of the material and basically kind of compromised those drain ports. So I might be doing some body work down there. I'm also doing brakes on Thursday, so I picked up some new rear rotors and parking brake shoes and stuff. That's all getting done on Thursday. And then for the interior, I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to getting it in here, but or getting back to work on the inside of the van, just because I got quite a bit on the go. I haven't even shared half of it, but I've been I'm doing this little job for a friend of mine who lives on a boat, and I had to pick up some teak. So this is quite a common material that gets used on different types of marine applications in boats. And I've got this piece sitting in my van and I'm thinking this looks pretty good. So I'm looking into some teak veneer plywood and making a countertop for back here out of that, and then also on this side and up in the front, which would look really cool. Hey guys, I'm just gonna like cruise through the chat here. Holy smokes, got Laura. Hi Laura. I can't believe it, 75 people in here, you guys. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to try and go through here and just answer some of those. And yeah, anything you want to know about about me, about the van, any of that sort of stuff, I'll try my best to answer that stuff as it comes up. And all right. Carol Springstead, hello, morning. Yeah, I'm thinking about putting teak in here for sure, Robin. It's a pretty cool material. I know on a boat it's great. I've already been thinking about the next van and I was like, well, maybe the next van, if I were to do the floor, maybe I'd do a teak floor, similar to what's on a boat. I don't know what's involved in that sort of thing. How's the COVID situation? Robin, the COVID situations, I don't really keep up to speed on it personally. Like I kind of hear through the rumor mill, and then I get my information that way. But it seems pretty relaxed here compared to a lot of other places in Canada, and in the US. So BC is, yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, people are relaxed about it, but people are also still being careful. So everyone's using hand sanitizers, wearing masks. Especially in Vancouver, I notice a lot of people are wearing masks outside even, which is, I mean, I don't do that so much myself, but you know, it is what it is. So I'll wear a mask if I'm going into a store or public place, and right now we have to do that here in BC. And same thing in a restaurant, so you wear the mask as you go in, and then you take it off when you get to your table. Yeah, so that's kind of the COVID situation here. The end is, thank you for the super chat. Not sure if is that your name, the end? Hopefully I'm getting that right. Thanks, buddy. That's cool. Tell me again more what window coverings you have. So that's van life boho style. So what I've got for my window coverings is, I'll pull one out. It's basically like a camping mattress. This stuff is about 3/4 of an inch thick, and it's just a foam. Like I would call this just a closed cell foam of some kind. And it's the kind of thing that you would just roll up. An old backpacker would, like an old school backpacker sleeping pad. And there was a camping store in Vancouver that I bought some of these from. And then what I did is I basically made a cardboard template of the window, and I used some tape at the very edges. You probably see that in the next build video coming out. You'll get a little bit of a better understanding of the process I have behind doing that. But then I just use tape to get really close and clean to the edges of that I guess window frame, if you will. And then I'll copy that onto the foam, cut it all out, and then stuff it in there. And this stuff just literally just goes straight in like that, and then I just push it in. And that's it. So it goes right up against the window, and it insulates it really well. And then of course I got the privacy. So then I just throw up a curtain in the front, and you know, I'm in here and no one can really see in. So that's that. Wendy Lee, thank you for the super chat. Thanks, I'll definitely keep it up for sure. So yeah, the window coverings, basically just that stuff there. How much is gas and insurance? Ma'am, CB, so gas and insurance, right now, prices of gas is going up here. I think Vancouver and the West Coast where I live is probably the more expensive place in Canada to buy gas. Right now, I think it's 155 Canadian per liter. So that's, last summer, I think it was 140 something. So it's already more expensive than it was last summer, or sorry, 2 summers ago. Because last summer it actually went down once the pandemic started. I think I filled up my gas at one point for 85 cents per liter. That was great, but that's not the case anymore. And then insurance is pretty expensive in BC. We're looking at about, I think it's about $2,300 per year for insurance. And again, that's also really expensive compared to the rest of Canada. So that's gas and insurance. You can thank Trader Joe's White House for higher gas prices. Yeah, I don't know. Gas in the UK. Good morning, you guys. Good morning for anyone who's just tuning into this. For my next van, would I get another SUV or would I get a van? I think for the next van, I mean, it's probably going to be a ways out. I'm hoping to be in this one for at least a couple more years. But I might like the two vans that I like the style of is the Ford Econoline, the same one that Chrome has, which is the extended cab. Probably I would rather go with a 350 and get the bigger engine. And I also like the Sprinter vans as well. And I know there's like, you know, a lot of people have their opinions about those being pretty expensive. I was in a few Mercedes vehicles before, and they're kind of expensive in some ways, and yeah, I guess, you know, there is that, but I really like the styling and construction of them and the quality of them. Plus they build the 4x4 version, which is coming off the factory to take that extra abuse off the trail, which is kind of appealing. So I like that, but it is a lot of money. Whether or not I ever get into that kind of money to be able to afford something like that, I don't know. Before I bought this van, I was about to buy a Sprinter. I was so close, but I didn't buy one. Yeah, $2.49 a gallon in Montana. Yeah. So I don't do liters and gallon conversions super well. I can do inches and centimeters pretty good. Yards and meters. Thanks, Matthew. Glad you like watching the channel. I'm having a lot of fun creating all this stuff. When am I going into the wild again? So I got a few days up here in Squamish. If I don't end up diving into the body work on the van while I'm here, I'm probably going to take one day and stretch it out into the bush, and I'll probably end up just going for a hike and see if I can hike up one of the local, like a smaller mountain. Certainly not like a foresty forest mountain, but just something smaller, and get out there and stretch the legs and that kind of thing. So, but other than that, I got a lot of work to do, and I kind of use this time of year to catch up on everything. I'm probably about a week away, maybe 2 weeks away from foraging for wild foods. Everything's just starting to just poke out right now. So what did I find out for that roof door leak was about? Steve's B8. Okay, so I'm still working on that, Steve. I'm going to be meeting up with a guy today about that, and we're going to have a look at it. It looks like it's coming in from the wheel wells, and it's building up in the rocker panels. I'm not 100% sure right now, and it's starting to rain outside today. It's the first time in about 4 or 5 days, so that might be a bit telling. I'm taking the van into a shop here right after this live stream to have a good look at it all. Do you know Steve Forrest personally? No, I don't know him personally. We've sent a few messages back and forth, so that's about it at this point. Maybe one day I might meet up with him and maybe we'll do something together. And then, yeah, would you spray paint your van? I don't really need to paint my van right now. I might have to paint over any sort of body work that I do. If I did that, I would probably just find a paint match and do the best I can. Dr. Phelps, what made you start van life in the first place? So it's kind of a big long question for that. It was to be honest, I knew about van life for a while, and I never was really drawn to it. I never imagined at all that I'd ever be in van life. And then I went through a pretty difficult separation, and went through some really difficult emotional times. And, you know, the real story behind that was, like, I won't get into the whole thing, but I ended up sleeping in a parkade for a little while, just trying to sort things out. And it dawned on me that all I really needed was a 6 foot, 6 feet by 2 feet horizontal place to lay down and rest my eyes at the end of the day. And that was in the back of my mind, and I was thinking about renting a place and getting an apartment, and I did have one for a little while after that, but it was really expensive, and I couldn't really afford the rental market in Vancouver at the time. So I started looking into van life, and I ran into Van City Van Life's channel and got some information from him watching his channel, and then I took the leap and jumped in. And I think it was at first I think it was just a temporary thing, but it's starting to feel like there's a lot of benefits to it, and I really like van life. I could say so many good things about it. And as far as having a van like this, I mean, you know, even if I lived in a house, I would still have a camper van outfitted the way it is so that I could just jump in it and go do things. But right now I see a lot of advantages in staying in van life, so I'm probably going to do this for a bit. So I like the mod videos, but I really look forward to cooking food videos. Tammy, yeah, I got a lot of cooking stuff coming up actually, so I'll be sharing more of that soon. And Stephen Foster, good morning, cousin. Good to see you on here. That's cool, bro. My cousin Stephen Foster's in the comments. And he's got a YouTube channel as well, but if you want to go check it out, he does a lot of real estate stuff out on Vancouver Island, and yeah, he brings it out his character on his channel for sure. All right, I'm gonna try and read through some of this and catch up on some of these comments. Rambler, good to see you, buddy. Aloha to you too. And what do I do for a living? Okay, for real life, what do I do for a living? I work in the yoga industry. I've been in the yoga industry for the last 7 years. I covered this in one of the videos before, but essentially I do facilities management and project management for them. I work as a contractor, so I work as my own company operating as a contractor for them. It's kind of an unusual relationship because I handle a pretty massive and important part of their business, but our relationship is pretty solid, and we've been working together for a long time in that way. And it's better that it's contract based because there's so many things that I take on as a separate business that I'm able to work into my business that they don't necessarily have to take on themselves. But yeah, facilities management, so it's looking after HVAC equipment, boilers, plumbing, everything to do with that, infrastructure, lighting, electrical. So sometimes I get my hands involved in some of that stuff, and then oftentimes it was just a management position, and I was bringing in different contractors and overseeing their work, supervising, following through with, you know, any discrepancies that they might have built into some of their repairs. It was pretty heavy. It was a lot. There was 12 studios, so it kept me really busy, and I was spread really thin. But that's what I do for a living, and that whole industry right now is it's pretty slow right now, honestly, because of the pandemic. And I'm still involved, but it's, you know, it's not what it used to be. I think things will pick up again once we kind of get back to normal, I guess. Although it's hard to say whether I'm going to go back to that full time, because I'm really enjoying doing the YouTube. And if this keeps growing the way it is, that, you know, I might just be able to do this more. I wouldn't have to do the yoga industry stuff anymore. Do I plan on doing any YouTube shorts or some Instagram videos? So that was Rob Yesta. I'm going to do, maybe I might look into YouTube shorts. Not Instagram. I'm not really on there. I don't have any plans to be on Instagram. Do you ever travel DJ, do you ever travel cross country when restrictions are lifted? Pretty much stay in BC. I'd love to get on the road, DJ, and do some traveling. And I guess the only reason why I'm staying where I am right now, the main reason is because my daughter lives in Vancouver and I see her a couple times a week. So it's you know, I wouldn't want to venture too far. This summer, what I'll probably end up doing is, fingers crossed, maybe I might be able to take a couple, like 2-week weeks off and go on a, you know, short road trip nearby or something like that. I would love to go up to northern BC and check that area out. So Jacqueline Jensen, your videos inspire me to get a video or a minivan. I was looking at a ProMaster and I'm almost done with my conversion and ready to live the road. Thank you for all the great information. Jacqueline, you're welcome. That's really cool. ProMasters are really nice and big and really nice to work on. All right, so COVID free from Western Australia, classic customs and hot rods from Perth. Yeah, man, that must be a trip living in a place where there's absolutely no COVID. That's pretty cool. I'm envious of you guys just, having a time over there. So, yeah. So what's everyone up to today? I'm sitting. So last night I got together with Chrome and Jeffy Bear and Emmy and a couple other friends, and we had beers together last night, and that was pretty fun. So this morning, I don't know if we're gonna get together again, but that was the first time the four of us got together in a really long time. That was pretty cool. Okay, Sherry Leach, do you have moisture problems in the van other than the leak because of the wet winter in BC? So yeah, I get a little bit. So right now you can see there's a bit of condensation forming on the windows right now. Humidity is at 45%, and that's just because I only have one of my windows cracked up in the front, and I've got a wet towel up at the front of the van too. So that's what's going on at the moment. But if I turn on my heater, it'll just blast that all out. It's also raining outside, so humidity level is probably like near 100% outside too. We do deal with a lot of moisture in the air out in BC, so condensation can be an issue. But I've been pretty lucky so far, and ever since I did the insulation and I got my ceiling up, and the condensation was, it took care of itself, and all the insulation that went into the actual, these metal cavities, that really helped as well. Other than that, though, I really haven't seen any condensation except for the stuff that gets on my windows. Okay, Mark Clotterbank, would you ever go explore the backcountry like Chrome does? Yeah, I would. Right now, I'm not doing that because I've got a lot of stuff that I'm sorting out in the town, or like in Vancouver. And there's a bunch of van work that needs to happen. I've got to get new brakes put in, which is happening this Thursday, and I've got to get my suspension all looked at because there's a few noises that are going on the bottom down there right now, and I don't want to go and make matters worse by taking it on some bumpy roads at the moment. But I'd like to sort that out soon, and as soon as I do, I'll probably venture out there and spend some more time out in the backcountry for sure. And normally I spend a lot of time out there. So, any spooky stories you can share when you're in the backcountry? No, not really. Pretty fine. I mean, I've had the hairs raised on the back of my neck a few times, like when I saw that grizzly, stuff like that. But no real spooky stories out in the backcountry that's coming to mind. So, Chantel, hello, like you, Van. Think amazing job on it. I hope you come to Barrie, Ontario. A nice place to see. Yeah, Chantel, my family lives in sort of the Ottawa Valley. My mom's in Perth and my brother's in just pretty close to Gatineau, Quebec. I'd love to be able to make a road trip out there at some point once things get a little bit more relaxed around the COVID. I really miss the bass fishing out that way, so I'd love to go that way and do some bass fishing and maybe catch some walleye as well. Love eating those fish. Ben Schlin, planning on working on my 98 E150, getting it ready for camping this summer, having a friend weld up the boat trailer for my quad. That sounds pretty cool, Ben. I'd love to get a quad, actually. It's been something on my mind. And I think that would probably be a way that I would explore the backcountry more, is to park this van out in the backcountry spot and then just take the quad out for just daily running around, checking out different areas and stuff. Ellen Bind, do you set the like button to not show the quantity? So Yeah, I set that up as a default a while back, and I haven't really dove back into that to see whether, like, to uncheck it. I guess I just have to spend some time on YouTube settings and go back in there, and I can check that off. I originally did that because that was what my friend Chrome recommended I do. So basically, it was just taking away the satisfaction some people might get for hitting a thumbs down, and this way they don't get to see how many thumbs downs there are. But there's a lot more thumbs up. There's usually like 98 to 99% of thumbs up compared to thumbs down. Jin, stop before you continue. Please take the time to X out the chat window and thumbs up the video for Joseph, guys. Okay. Thanks, Jen. Just gonna see if I miss any questions, you guys. COVID, lie in Canada, join the lawsuit against federal government and take $2. Smartest man says YouTube. All right, I don't know. Maybe I'll check that out. You mentioned meditation at one point. Is that something you practice regularly? So Sandy, yeah, I practice meditation twice a day. I spend 15 minutes sitting in the morning when I wake up, and I sit for 15 minutes in the evening. Sometimes I do it longer. It kind of depends on the day. There are days where I just like, might skip a morning or an evening. I generally don't skip the morning, but occasionally I might skip an evening meditation. Thanks for sharing. So Robert, Turnip Seed, thanks for sharing your story and videos back. Great to learn how people come in to embrace themselves to create the life they dream of. Yeah, thanks, Robert. I definitely try to follow like sort of an inner calling with a lot of different things, and I guess it doesn't always work out, but I often strive to do that as well. And then spend the time doing stuff that I love to do. I also try not to step on anybody while I do that, but sometimes that does happen. Northern Michigan, the best smallmouth fishing in the world. Yeah, I haven't been to Northern Michigan, but I love smallmouth fishing. I caught a lot of smallmouth in my childhood, and I absolutely love them. Would you take your daughter on a trip once this COVID settles down? Sherry, yeah, I've been chatting with her mom about stuff like that. Probably end up doing a short road trip with her, or like a camping trip. We might do some, like an overnight trip at some point. I haven't done that yet, so we'll see. She could get pretty excited about that sort of thing, and she might not sleep very well, so I guess that's probably to be expected. She really likes hanging out in the van. We have a good time. So, Brandon House, this is my first ever YouTube comment. Just wanted to tell you that I'm extremely happy you created this channel. I think you're doing amazing, and I hope it continues to grow. Brandon Hines, thanks so much, man. I appreciate the comment, and you just sharing that's your first YouTube comment on my channel. That's pretty special. And thank you, man. I'm gonna keep working on the channel, and I'm glad you like it. It's got a lot to share. There's so many more videos to come out, and a lot of stuff that I can't wait to go out and film. And let's see. Talking yesterday's. Hey Joseph, what do you? So Daniel, hey Joseph, what do you have going on for power? So Daniel, what I do for power is I've got two 12-volt batteries. They're a silicon dioxide chemistry, so they're similar to an AGM, but they're not quite the same. They're 100 amp hours each, so I've got them wired in parallel, giving me 200 amp hours of 12-volt power. There's room in the van for a third battery, which I'm contemplating picking up from the same company, and then installing a shore power charger as well. Right now I charge off of the alternator, and I charge off of solar panels, and I'm using the Renogy DC to DC MPPT charger combination. And then I've got a 700 watt inverter that gives me the AC power to charge things like my laptop. and just run a few small appliances when I need them. And then other than that, the rest of it's all 12 volt. I've got my 12 volt fridge and my heater and my roof fan, and it all does really well. If I sit still like right now, I could probably do what I'm doing right now for about 2 days. And I'm saying that because my laptop's drawing 80 watts of power at the moment. That's the biggest power draw in my whole van. All right, so that's my power stuff. I'm going to be getting into that shortly in the, well, I shouldn't say shortly, but I'm starting to buy the components in the build videos, so that's coming up. I'm just editing some of that stuff right now. Okay, so good. Let's see, actually. Hey Joseph, your friend Chrome needs help with meditation. He needs to focus on all that energy better. So that was from Jen. Yeah, I think Chrome does spend, you know, I don't know if I would help him with that. He does get a lot out of his backcountry and visits and stuff like that. And in a way, that's kind of a moving meditation. Sydney and the Beast, I really like your style and your videos in contrast to some others. Peaceful and informative. Thank you for sharing your channel. Yeah, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. There's definitely more to come. James Solaire, not today for solar. Gray and rainy. Yeah, you're right. I'm not pulling any solar today. I've got my battery's at 95% though right now, so I'm fine. Rambler Rocketeer, today we're going to Southside Popey and clean up the debris in the dive and boats harbor seas. With all the flooding, there's a lot to clean up. Yeah, man, I'm sure you're cleaning up a lot. I was down in Mexico a couple years ago, and I went to this part of the shoreline that was not really a public area. It was kind of, I don't know if it was private property even, but it was just somewhere that I went and explored, sort of off trail. And I was amazed at how much plastic there was washed up on the shore, and it was everywhere. It was just like the tide would come in and bring in the plastic, and it was just like it was through the trees and through the brush. And it was really humbling to see the amount of that. So when I think of it, I mean, here I am having a Starbucks coffee, but every time I got a piece of plastic in my hand or something like that, I'm kind of like, a part of me just can't help but think that that's probably going to end up in the ocean one day. And so it's a weird thing to think about, because you're still kind of consuming plastic and involved in that sort of stuff. And I don't often get a coffee like this. I'm doing that this morning because I don't know, I just wanted to. I'm not perfect, guys. Pink Love, sharing the wild. Are you ever going to upgrade to a lithium batteries? Looking for a less expensive product similar to lithium. All right, so my I could have gone with lithium to begin with, so I chose to go with something called the silicon dioxide battery chemistry. I really don't know anybody else out there who's done that, and to me it was just intriguing. It's similar to an AGM, but the way it works is like the actual silicone inside the battery crystallizes through the whole cell itself so that it becomes a solid mass, and it doesn't have any liquid in it at all. It's a sealed battery, but it becomes a kind of like a crystal. At least that's how they've explained it to me. And they said because of that, it can operate in negative, I think it's negative 60 degrees Celsius, and I think it's like plus 40 or plus 50 degrees Celsius. It's got a really massive temperature range that it can work in. And that was something that just appealed to me. So I thought I would try it out. They weren't cheap batteries, but so far they've been working really well. I can drain them down to 100% if I want to. And apparently they bounce back really well. They perform better than an AGM. And very similar to a lithium, but not quite a lithium battery. I guess I'll find out in the long run just how good they are, but that's it. Would I go to a lithium battery? The weight savings is appealing to me. And certainly in the next van, I would probably look at doing a lithium battery, just to keep the weight down. Brenda, do you ever watch other YouTube videos about van life? I watch a couple I poke into, like Chrome, like Van City Van Life, Foresty Forest. There's a couple other ones that I just kind of check into every now and then, but I don't spend a lot of time on it. And how do you sprout grains while living in your van? I've got a video coming up on that soon. I'm not quite finished filming it, but it'll be coming out, and I'll show how to do that. But the same way you would do it in your house, really. Mr. Foxbow Gardes, merci to l'Alebe. I'm not great at French here, so I'm going to try my best. Je suis commenté regard des chiens. I'm embarrassing myself, I'm sure. Anyway, like if Emmy's watching this, she's probably laughing at me. But I'm not sure what you're saying there. But appreciate the thumbs up, bud. Is your van looking great? I know you threw Chrome. Yeah, thanks, Tammy. Classic Customs Hot Room. Why not buy another aftermarket laptop charger? I have one that just plugs in a cigarette lighter as a built-in 90-watt inverter. Multiple plugs, different laptops, $60 at AU. I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked into something like that, so maybe I will. I guess if it still pulls the same wattage, it doesn't really. I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference. My inverter's pretty efficient, so I think it only takes 10 watts while it's sitting there. Yeah, Rambler, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate working for those guys too, Emmy and Jeffy Bear. It was a lot of fun doing the work on their vans, and supporting those guys where I could. Tom Travels, thank you for the battery information. You're welcome. Yeah, the batteries I bought, by the way, they're called what are they called? I can't remember. I'll cover them in a video very soon. They're coming up in one of the build videos, but I bought them in Kelowna, in British Columbia. Tammy Lohman, how is Jeffy Bear doing? He's doing good. I saw him last night. We got together, and I had a beer with Chrome and Emmy and those guys, and Jeffy was there. He's doing fine. His new transmission's fine. He's got a big smile on his face, and he's doing just fine. Laura, don't see where you can send a super chat to him on his channel. Or, sorry, Mike McKinley. Laura, don't see where you can send a super chat. It should be on, you guys. I've had a couple super chats come in already, so. And then BG Bugler, invest in a reusable coffee cup, but no store will refill them. Yeah, right now, it's funny how that's turned out. Because of the pandemic, it's almost like we've gone back to a little bit of a disposable society in that way. I have a reusable coffee cup. I had one a while ago that Chrome gave me, and it was great. But it started to corrode, and it was leaching this black stuff off the side, so I threw it off. Like there was all this black stuff coming out of here, so I just threw it away. But this one's a little bit too small, and that's why I went and got a Starbucks this morning. I've got a new cup coming in that'll hold like a pint of beer as well as a cup of coffee, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I'll be making coffee in the van again. And Brenda Monroe, so what are your favorite things to forage for as edibles in the bush? Brenda, my favorite stuff is, I think my favorite thing is dandelions. I love eating dandelions more than anything else. I know they're really bitter, and it's not a favorite for people. I also like plantain, and those kind of things grow in a lot of urban areas as well. Another one of my... there's Purslane, which is really good. That's a completely different plant, but that stuff is so good. It's so delicious. That one's like this watery, juicy, sort of almost creamy kind of plant to eat. And that stuff's great. Usually come up later in the summer in some spots. But there's so much out there. There's so much out there. I love the sound of rain on your roof. Cheers to that. All right. Mr. Fox Bogardus, can you buy a 12-volt coffee maker and save money? Maybe. I don't know. I just use my little jet boil to boil up some water and make my coffee with a little pour over, and I like the way that works. Yeah, I got to spend some money on gas for that, but I like cooking with gas quite a bit. Molly Utefe, big hello from New Zealand. Malaya. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm not pronouncing some of these names really well. I'm probably embarrassing myself in that way, but big hello back to you, back to New Zealand. I'd love to visit New Zealand. That place looks amazing. That really looks amazing. Yeah. Vinegar on French fries is a really great Canadian thing, or is really a Canadian thing. I don't know. Vinegar on French fries, I don't see that out in BC so much, but growing up in Quebec, it was something that I saw out there for sure. Feiji Brader, thanks for the super sticker, buddy. Cheers to you. Okay, so Marielle Dion, hi Joseph, in your video about the tick, the title said you saw it on an animal, but you didn't mention on what. Furthermore, the tick you filmed, was it in your van? Okay, so about the tick in my video that I filmed was in my van. It was on the bed that I'm sitting on right now. Ironically, I didn't go out into any sort of wild bushy areas that day. The only time I was sitting outside of my van was on a park bench having a coffee with a friend of mine, and that's probably where I picked it up, and it was actually in a rather urban area, so I was pretty surprised to see that guy in the van. And that's the first black-legged tick that I've seen in BC, so I'm a little bit I don't know, it's good to see it. I guess I'm gonna have to keep my wits about me as I go out in the bush and just do some tick checks and stuff like that. And I looked that one up, and it was the one that carries Lyme disease. Apparently 50% of the ticks of that type out on this part of the world carry Lyme disease. And then the ticks that I saw on an animal, that was from some deer that I harvested a couple years ago. I was on a hunting trip and ended up getting a deer, and it had a bunch of ticks on it. Ethan R. Hey Joseph, what was the reason behind your veggie lifestyle? Is wild game your only meat in your diet? Once the doc says that things are back to normal, are you going back to veg? Yeah, so Ethan, I grew up eating meat in my family, and then my mom actually got into she started to open up to different types of eating, and she got into vegetarianism and introduced that to the family. And I started to dive into some of the material that she was reading. I was a teenager at the time, and then I joined her and I became a vegetarian. And I was a vegetarian for a while, and I was mostly interested into it for some of the health reasons and stuff, and I was just exploring and trying different things out. And then I got into then I went back to eating meat, and then I went back into being a vegetarian. Then I got into a macrobiotic diet, which is, I think it's a Japanese origin diet, and I was into that for about a year and a half, and that was pretty interesting. Then after that, I was a vegan for a while, and I stayed vegan for not quite a year, but almost a year. And I was kind of making that decision for moral reasons, because, I understood the food industry for animals and all that sort of stuff. But I did grow up, and I was introduced to fishing and hunting when I was a kid, so that was always there. And as I got older, I started to appreciate more and more some of the qualities of meat and what they offered in a holistic diet, and just honoring sort of like my own constitution. And I decided that I was going to reincorporate it back into my diet, and that was through consulting a couple different health practitioners and stuff, and that's what their recommendation was. And I still chat with different holistic nutritionists today, and I still think it's a good idea that I'm eating a little bit of meat in my diet, and it's even better to go out and get wild meat. So because I was you know, bringing meat back in my diet, I just didn't want to support the big farm industry around animals and how they're raised and all that sort of thing. I mean, I understand there's a reason for some of that, and it's fine, but there was just part of me that has a choice to go back to what I learned when I was a youngster about around hunting and gathering food, and I really wanted to bring that back into my life. And I'm much more I feel much better about doing that because I'm connected more closely to the food. So I think that's it. Would I ever go back to being a vegetarian? Yeah, maybe at some point I would. I don't know. Like I'm not attached to these things either way, but I really enjoy everything around going out and getting wild food, bringing it to my dinner plate. It's very special. So let's see. Brenda Monroe, thank you for the super chat. Cheers. And let's see. I'm going to try and read up on a couple more questions here, you guys. Okay, Christopher loves to dance. YouTube is really an amazing place. I mean, I'm chilling out in the comfy of my own bed, and somewhere thousands of miles away, you guys live streaming from his van. How cool is that? That's cool, man. Yeah. It is pretty cool. It's pretty cool that we have all this technology right now to be able to do this sort of thing. To be reality, what do you think of rabbit farming? I don't know. I've never heard of it before. I guess I'd have to. I don't have an opinion on that one. I'm sorry. Jen OW, when is the new van build? Jen, I'm not sure. I guess, I'm hoping to be in this one for a couple of years before I get into another one. I need to pay off all my bills, be debt free, and then have some money in the bank for other things, and then be able to get into another van. So I don't know how long that's going to take, but that's my thought around that. Of course, if something ever happened to this van that I forced me in another van build, I guess I'd be in it sooner than a couple of years at least. Yeah. Paul Bridges, is this your first live chat? Hello from Texas. Yeah, Paul, this is my first live chat. All right. Sharing the wild. So Ellen Bine, in the summer, do wild lobster mushrooms and chanterelles grow there? Yeah, they're more common later in the summer, so towards the fall. I don't often see the lobster mushrooms. I mean, that's kind of I think that one's the parasitic mushroom, where it just consumes any kind of mushroom and it becomes a lobster mushroom. I've seen a couple of those, but it's been a long time since I've seen one, like years. Chanterelles, I found some chanterelles last fall while I was out hunting. And I was surprised to see them where I did see them, and how late in the season that I saw them. But they definitely grow around here. Typically I'll go for those earlier, like in September, and I'll go down to lower elevations, and I'll spend a few days picking chanterelles. They're great. I love putting them in tacos and stuff like that. Dan Townsend, do you plan on doing YouTube full-time eventually, like Chrome? I would, I'm definitely hoping to build that, Dan, and do that full-time for sure. I'm going to leave room to, add other things and stuff as time goes on, but I'd love to do YouTube full-time for sure. I don't know when that's going to happen. It's going to take some time. I'm not there yet, so. And then BJ Bullweller. Ted Nugent is all about wild game. So healthy for you. Yeah. Ted Nugent, yeah. I like some of his music for sure. So how many subs would it take you to go to live on YouTube full time, Dr. Phelps? I'm really not sure, Dr. Phelps. I think it comes down to views and I really don't know. I would need I I think Chrome was at 20,000 subs when he was able to make the jump, and I don't know. Maybe it might be the same for me. But he was also pulling some income, I think, from his Patreon at that point. And I still haven't set mine up. I've been researching all of that, by the way. So Patreon, YouTube memberships, and I know a bunch of you guys been asking about that stuff. I've been taking my time with it because basically I want to research it and have a pretty clean startup with that sort of stuff and know what I'm getting into. And I don't have, I haven't had a big block of time where I could just sit down and go through the whole thing from start to finish, but I'm getting close. Roberta Turnipseed, when describing your job with yoga studios, it sounded like it can be very busy. Is van life a bonus for you when moving between the studios? Is van life a long-time hope? Yeah, okay, so that's a great question. Roberta Turnipseed, so the yoga studio work was extremely busy, and there's 12 studios at the time before the pandemic that I was looking after. 2 of them were in Toronto, so I never actually went to those ones, but I worked on them remotely. But I was much then I was also much better connected to the ones that were in BC on the West Coast. And so the van became a really efficient tool to be able to get from to one and the other. Like I could go up to Whistler and work on that one and just stay up there and sleep. And it was great. I only really capitalized on that for a few months, and then once the pandemic started, like everything changed, and now it's different. Like I was hoping that I could pay off this entire van and still be working a regular job right now, but it's all changed. So in a way, I'm not really reaping the benefits of not paying rent. Like now I'm just kind of in a way it's still kind of doing a paycheck to paycheck kind of life at the moment. But that's okay. That's just something to get through, and I know the pandemic's pretty hard on everybody. So here we go. Videos, thanks for the super chat, buddy. I appreciate that. Pink Love, I love the mushrooms. However, I'm scared to eat them. I'm going in the wild. I don't know enough about them to eat them on my own judgment. Okay, so yeah, it's really great that you've got that outlook. I think that's a really safe approach. I would stay with that. Go out and deal with someone that knows how to identify that stuff, and also pick up some books and look online. There's a lot of information out there right now that there's really no reason why someone should make a mistake these days. You just have to approach it carefully, and then once you start learning mushroom identification, you'll find out like there's some that are really safe to choose and identify out in the area that you live, and you can't really mix them up with bad mushrooms. And then the gap gets a little you start getting closer and closer to that edge when you start exploring some of the other edible mushrooms that start looking really close to some nasty ones, and that's when things can get a little tricky. So a lot of people that I know that are out foraging generally stick to the safer ones where you can't really mix it up. Out here on the West Coast, there's the chanterelle mushrooms got a close relative called the false chanterelle, and I don't think it's not deadly, but it's got some toxins to it, and it's not one you want to fool around with either. But there's a way to identify the two of them. So when I'm out picking chanterelles, I'm identifying them as I'm picking them, and then when I get back and I'm cleaning them all up and processing them, I'm looking at each one again just to double check and make sure. But once you know the difference, it's pretty quick. You can just be like, yep, nope, that one's a false chanterelle, that one's a real one. So stick to the safe ones. Let's see. I'm gonna try catch up on a couple other things. Daniel Cargill, hopefully the border opens up soon. New England is starting to open up again. We need to do some traveling. Want to take a trip to BC or some other part of Canada. Keep it up. Go Bruins. Yeah, I'm looking forward to things opening up too. It'd just be so much more relaxing to be reconnected with everyone again, and to go off and move around and do stuff. I feel that for sure. Pilgrim Peace, hey, I just got here watching from Western Australia. Hey, Pilgrim Peace, nice to see you. Glad you made it to the live stream. I'm sure you're just having the time of your life over there in Australia, not having any COVID to deal with over there. Joanne Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Good to see you in here. Good morning to you too. Okay, BJ Blogger, get yourself a Leatherman multi-tool. I have one of those things. It's in my van. I never use it. I seldom use it. I have one, but I just don't carry it around. I find they're kind of heavy. Sockley, BC is great for psychedelic shrooms, especially around Squamish. I know there's a couple of different psychoactive mushrooms that grow around here. I certainly know the fly agaric ones. I've actually got that coming up in a video. I think it's the next build video. Just show an example of it. But I've never eaten one of those ones. Prairie life sounds like gentle rain. Yeah, there's a little bit of rain going on where I am right now. It's a rainy day. Robin77, have you traveled much outside of Canada? Not very much, Robin. I've been down to Mexico a couple years ago, and a couple years before that I went and visited Myanmar, which is also known as Burma, and I went there with my partner at the time. That was a really fun trip. I really enjoyed going over there. You know, there were some challenges with it, but that was super cool. We actually ended up traversing a good section of that countryside on a scooter, and that was really fun. Brenda Monroe, do you ever go fishing or crabbing? I haven't gone crabbing, and fishing, yes, I do go fishing, not very often. So the reason I don't do a lot of fishing out where I am is because most of the there's a lot of rivers to go fishing in, but most of the regulations are set up so that it's mostly catch and release, if not entirely catch and release in the rivers. And that's why I don't go fishing. I can't bring myself to go and just sport fish and catch and release. Like, I want to go and catch a fish and then cook it up and eat it. I can do that in some of the lakes around here, but there's not very many lakes in BC. And the ones that are close to Vancouver and Squamish get fished a lot. They are stocked, but it's, I still have yet to catch fish out of one of those lakes. So I don't spend a lot of time doing it. The ocean's right beside me, so I'd rather spend some time out there. I've got a friend who lives on a boat, and from time to time I go out with him, and I'll do a little bit of ocean fishing, and that's usually when I end up catching some stuff and bringing that back. So yeah, and this year I'm looking forward to doing some more of that. Dr. Phelps, thanks for the super chat. Holy smokes, bud. One coffee, one of 100 of a lithium battery. Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Cheers, bud. So let's see. Krish, I would say morel mushrooms are one of the safest to start with, especially in the season. I've heard the same thing. I've heard there's kind of a false-looking morel as well, although I don't think that one's... I haven't looked into it, so I won't really speak too much on those just yet. I've got a good friend of mine that goes picking them in the springtime, so I might join him this year and see if we can make a trip into the interior of BC and find some burn patches. Okay, Paritosh Vishuni, love from India. Do you enjoy van life in wild or want to be just in city outskirts? I do enjoy van life in the wild for sure, like out in the backcountry. I'm just not doing that right now because my suspension needs to get worked on, and it is a minivan, so it's not like I can really take the back roads so much with this van. So I'm gonna do what I can do with it, but yeah, I'll probably end up doing a little bit more hiking around and stuff like that as opposed to driving around. And then I am staying pretty close to the cities because my daughter lives in Vancouver, and I see her twice a week, so it doesn't give me a whole lot of time to get out and go do that stuff. Okay. Well, you guys, I might be signing off here soon. I gotta go to the shop here and take a look at my rocker guards here pretty quick. I've been doing this for just over an hour. Yeah, Ben, Celine, it seems like there are a lot more regulations in Canada versus the States. I don't know exactly what you're speaking about there, like specifically. So I'm not sure. Richard Gregory, are there fiddleheads in your area? Yes, there are. I haven't... I found a patch last year, so I might go and pick that this spring. But I've been cautious about fiddleheads just because of the carcinogens that are in them, and so you know there's some that I definitely don't eat, and then there's others that I do eat. So, but I think I found the ones that I want to go for this year, and I'll probably just have a few of them and stuff like that, but not crazy about them because of the carcinogens in them. Rambler Rocketeer, what's left in your van build? Not too much. I've got to do my countertops, and I'm going to redo this one that's right back here, and the one that's on that side, and I'm going to take out my passenger seat and build a whole cabinet up in the front there. Probably end up getting another fridge and running it as a freezer up in the front. I'm hoping to get that maybe midsummer. And I'm probably going to do all my countertops in a teak material. This is a solid piece of teak. The reason this is in my van right now is I'm doing a small job on a friend's boat, and I needed a bit of teak for that. But I really I like the look of it. I've been in a bunch of different boats, and I think I'm going to bring some of that into the van. So I'm going to replace this counter with basically a marine grade plywood that has a teak veneer on it. So it's a very, very thin layer of teak that's on it. It's not going to be a solid piece of teak. But yeah, that's what I'm going for. So I think that's about it. And then I'm just covering up this area up here with a bit of covering all the way around here. That's going to be a bit of a job, but I need time to get into the shop and do all that. And right now it as much as I want to do that stuff, it's been I have to push it down the list. There's other things that keep coming up that are more important to take care of. So just see. Yeah, you're welcome, you guys. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, you guys. Been great. Good little live stream for the first time for me. Okay, I'll give this just a couple more minutes and then I'm going to sign off here. Yeah. Come across any Sasquatch while you're out there? No, I haven't seen any Sasquatches out there. There's quite a lot of talk around Sasquatch, but I haven't seen any. Okay, I'll answer one more question and then I'm gonna head out. So Sydney the Beast, I wanted to take out the seat, but what if I have a passenger? Would your passenger be sitting in the back? So in my case, Sydney, I've got the stow and go. I still have one of my stow and go seats built into the van. So if I have one passenger, I'm okay. I can remove the passenger seat and still carry a passenger there. I'll check all that with a friend of mine that works in ICBC anyway, just to make sure I'm not doing anything that would violate the insurance for having a passenger with me. So we'll see. But I'm probably gonna take out my passenger seat anyway. And yeah, I guess that's it. There'll be more of that coming up. I'll share my thoughts around it and the process and all that stuff with the build videos as they come out. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna run off and go do my get to work on the van. So I got to meet somebody and take a look at the rocker guards here and see what the plan's gonna be. So take it easy. Have a great Sunday out there, and we'll see you later. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.